Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our neck of the woods. I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to get in here. Hey, everybody! Hello, hello, hello. So I thought today we talk a little bit about the long repose. Actually, there's a little bit of a dual meaning to it. One, because I just slept solidly for the first time in I don't know how long. Yeah, I don't know how long it's been. Nothing could wake me up. Hey, Tracy, good to see ya. Robert, good morning. Uh, I slept so late, and thank you to my honey for letting me, because I must have needed it. I didn't wake up once through the evening. Hey, Bonnie, good to see ya.
We got a picture to show you.
So we've had quite a bit of repose. Yay! Hi, Linda. Good to see ya. Um, with all this stuff that's going on, many people have had a very long repose, a long rest, right? Um, so have you used your rest? Have you used it wisely? Have you um, have you used it to learn things? Have you used it just to find other means of being? How have we used our repose? Uh, for one, I feel very rested. No surprise, I probably slept almost 12 hours, but I feel good. I don't feel overly tired. I feel like everything's finally maybe settled in a little bit. So I'm feeling much more comfortable in my skin today, and I hope it is. I hope it's mutual for a lot of you. I hope a lot of you are just feeling better today. It feels like there's maybe a lift of the pressure of the different energies that we've had coming in lately. Um, and I just thought that was something worth talking about, honestly. Um, so anybody want to come up and chat? Um, you're more than welcome to. It is good to see y'all. Did I post it? Yes, I did. I posted it. So it is lovely to see you fine folks on this lovely day. It's a little chilly here in Ohio, but um, it is beautiful out. The sun is shining, and the birds are out there singing their little songs. Everybody's doing the changeover. We'll be seeing more chickadees before anything for too long here. And thank you, Robert. We did check that video out this morning. So that was pretty awesome. So, nobody wants to come up and chat? Did I catch y'all at lunchtime again? Let's see, long repose. I don't remember what I put in the description now. Um, I'm sure it sounded good to me at the time. But hopefully all the electronic gadgets and signals. All right, Shep. Well, I do hope you have a great day, though. And I do hope you're feeling better than you were. Excellent, Bonnie. Thank you, hon. Yeah, I kind of feel like there is almost a weight has been lifted, you know? Either that or I finally integrated all the data that is being downloaded. You will, Robert. It'll come to you when you're not looking for it. Oh, I know. I'm at the end of my coffee, too. I forgot to refill my cup before I came on. I should have done that before I went live. I even gave myself 5 extra minutes to make sure I did that, and I didn't do it. Sorry. So, yeah. So, I hope everyone's feeling better. I hope your signals are behaving better. So far, so good today. All right? Knock on wood, cross your fingers, dot your I's, cross your T's, right? So, I feel better now, though, than I have in the last maybe 2 weeks. And it was amazing. Boy, I'm not a person that sleeps really hard, but I did last night, and I feel refreshed and revitalized and really just, I feel at peace. I feel at peace today. So I'll wait to refill my coffee until somebody comes up, and that way you guys won't be sitting there with dead air. Ooh, 11:11, and I did just see something. I did just see something that something came out about the Durham report, and another person has been arrested. The Russian fella who was the go-between for the dossier or something. I'm still not seeing the one that's going to shock the world, but I am still keeping an eye on it. So give me a moment, guys. My laptop's going to die. I obviously wasn't very prepared. Let's see. Did that do it? That did not do it. Oh, lovely. Uno momento, please. Hi, honey bunny. I don't know what I can unplug and what I can plug back in. So, Jeffrey did some of our wiring yesterday, and it's working lovely. But, honey, we got to get the laptop plugged in.
Oh, is that done?
Yes, it just dinged on me.
Oh.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? But can you retract it, since that's a little bit of a trigger word, Shep? So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on. And at least it's now coming out from behind the curtain, from behind the scenes. I think we're seeing the curtain being pulled back on several things, not just the political stuff, not just the surface stuff, but we're seeing a lot of the veil being lifted from the eyes of the people, and people realizing that hidden history and our hidden past was done purposely. And I'm waiting for the questions to start coming about why did they hide it? What else are they hiding, right? Because for me, once I start questioning something, it always leads to more questions. So it's very, very interesting. Hey, Buckeye, good to see you, man. Hey, that guy's my neighbor. I don't know where, but he's my neighbor because he lives in the same state as me. Buckeyes, tough nuts to crack. Ah, that's funny, Don. Well, so yeah, so there's a lot of things going on. There are a lot of things being uncovered, for sure. And I think a lot of people may get uncomfortable with some of the things that do get uncovered. I don't know how how close or far down the line a lot of things will be uncovered, but that's awesome. Yeah, Bonnie's our Texas lady. She is she's a tiny woman who is large and in charge. She's got her stuff together, I tell you what. She is a warrior. Um, definitely. Hey Canine, good to see you. Anybody I haven't said hi to yet, it's not because I don't want to say hi to you, it's because I haven't seen you. So hi. Welcome everyone. Just waiting for one of you good folk to come on up here and chat my ear off. Shep, good to see you, man. Excellent, excellent. I know, Dawn. I'm of the same mind. She said, this unveiling should be treated more like a Band-Aid. Just rip it off. Just rip it off. Stop babying this. We're big people. We can handle this. Right? We can handle it. I like alternative medicine, so screw the Band-Aid. I don't even want the adhesives. Band-Aids are good for holding wounds together when you don't have super glue. No, I'm just picking, guys. I'm just picking. But yeah, they do. They just need to tear this thing off. So sorry if some people aren't ready for that. That's you got to deal with the skin burns sometimes, ripping off the Band-Aid, but it's all worth it, right? If the wound's healed, get it off there. Deep repose. Does that mean you haven't had enough coffee yet? All right, Shep, you have a great day. You're in Springfield. Springfield. Where's that? That's Southwest Ohio? Huh? Just west?
You go through it going on 62. I know. I'm going southwest.
Conservative cowboy. I love that you dropped that intel for us. Please use different language. We all are pretty good decoders of languages. So try to avoid the trigger words, please. Because I do like your little intel drops that you drop for us in here. And I appreciate that, sir. But we know how these platforms are. I don't think they're going to let up anytime soon. I think they're going to fight to the bitter end. Word salad. Word salad. That's a great way to describe it. Wind talkers. The wind talkers. You think about it, that was a brilliant move to use an indigenous language for code, right? Not widely known. That was a brilliant move. I still think a lot of the wars and stuff that have been fought in our past were cover-ups. My personal opinion, they were cover-ups to hide, to further hide our true history from us. And the further back I go, the more evidence there is. Sad but true. You had a dream about rats running scared. Oh, I think that's a good sign. That sounds like a good sign. Rowdy Piper. Go get him. Yeah, I was an 80s kid. Big fan of the wrestling back then. Even though we knew it was fake. It was so cool. I liked the rock and roll tag team. They were my favorite. They were my favorite tag team. But I had two big brothers, so I was widely influenced by Hot Wheels, G.I. Joe, and wrestling. The WWF. Oh. Yeah. Okay, so you're not that far from me, Bob. Because we're in Holmes County. Freddie Blasey. Who is that? Is that combat level? I don't remember dreaming last night. But I don't remember anything else either. And what a relief that finally is to have a good solid night's sleep. Boy, my back feels good. Well, it still hurts a little bit, but it feels pretty good comparatively. Yeah, Don. Yeah. I had multiple black eyes from elbows to the eye. My brothers they wanted to bring the elbow down. Yeah. Hey, Shift. Good to see you. Yeah, about 2 hours. That's not that far, really, when you think about it. Hey, K9 Dogma. Good to see you, man. Haven't
Hey,
heard
good
from you.
morning. How you? Yeah, I've been working hard. So, yeah, Freddie Blassie was a wrestler back in the 50s and 60s, and that's who Freddie Blassie is. And
All
I
right.
used to watch him. Yeah, I used to watch him all the time when I was a kid. So, yeah, and Combat Level has a great channel on. Can I say Telegram? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He has a great channel on Telegram, and they removed his personal site, so he has a new site right now up and running called Real Combat Level. If you're interested, so
Okay, and is that also on Telegram?
yes,
Okay.
yes, it is.
Yeah, because Tracy was saying that she is sub to him. And Ship, yeah, I like Black Scout Survival. He's a cool dude. Yeah, so that's awesome. Real Combat Level, is that what you said? It's his new
Yes,
channel is.
yes. Real with capital R, lowercase EAL, and then all caps Combat Level LVL. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to take this opportunity to make a cup of coffee while we're chatting there, K9. Hope you don't mind.
No, please go ahead. I was about to get me a cup of coffee too. So
Yeah, we should just call every show Coffee and Chat, huh?
there you go. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Oh.
So how are you feeling today? Energy's a little bit better today?
You talking to me?
Yeah, talking to you.
Yeah. Energy's better. We have a little issue at work. I'm going to be working 7 days a week again coming up, which isn't so much fun, but it's got to be done.
What field do you work in?
Currently, I'm a security officer at a private gated community up in Palos Verdes. That's what I'm doing right now.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
7 days a week, eh? So they are expecting some hoo-ha, are they?
No, we well, the hoo-ha already happened. We have we had a new officer come in, and they kept not showing up, and that can't happen up there. So we're back to 3 officers working 7 days a week. So yeah, until we can find somebody who's reliable. It's so hard to find reliable people in this day and age right now, especially out here in California. Apparently, people are still on
unemployment, government benefits, all that niceness.
Right. Apparently, people are still on. Yep.
Don't worry, she'll nail it real quick. Hi, Bonnie.
Got it.
So.
How are y'all?
Good.
Hey, Bonnie.
Very good.
I didn't mean
So,
to interrupt.
but that's very interesting to know that the security sector is increasing because, but that really seems strange a little bit to me. Can I ask, Canine, are they trying to mandate the healthcare thing?
They haven't done it to us yet, but our situation is we're in a place where we have the minimum amount of employees, and if they even consider the mandate, I think a lot of people would be leaving.
Yeah.
I know a lot have been jabbed, but a lot of us haven't, and I think they know that we're not going to comply. So,
If we use hindsight, first, real quick, Canine, Robert wanted to know if you're by LA.
oh yeah,
He's in Cali with you. He's over there in Cali too.
all right.
So I think we have quite a few Ucali brothers and sisters that come here. So that's really cool. I enjoy that. Meeting people from all over the place.
Right.
Hey, Monty, good to see you.
It's
So if we use our hindsight and we see what they've done just in the past 2 years, they started up this pandemic, right? Where all these employers had to go to minimum amount of workers, right? They brought your work quota down, and then they incentivized people to stay home in a lot of areas. And now they're trying to say that is the absolute reason, is because people are just getting this free money and they won't come back to work. But I don't think that is the true case. I think a lot of people have lost their job or don't want to come back in case there are those mandates in place. I think there are probably more people willing to live without any kind of cash flow just to not have to be forced into a choice. That's my opinion. And I think that way because I know mainstream media is putting it out there like, oh, look at all these lazy Americans just sitting collecting money. I don't think that's the case at all.
If I'm not mistaken, they stopped that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, the unemployment extra payment. I think they stopped that.
Yeah,
they did. In Texas.
Well, Bonnie, I think there's a way around that. Before this career, I was a tour bus driver, and I would take students on their college tours from San Diego all the way up to Chico State, or I'd go to Yellowstone or Navajo Reservation and all. And when the coup hit, transportation died, and it's almost non-existent right now. I get calls from different bus companies asking me to come back and work for them, and it's $30 an hour, but it's maybe 1 or 2 days a week, and they don't tell you that. They haven't told me that up front, but I found that out, and they're desperate for part-time drivers because the drivers aren't coming back to work. They'd rather collect their unemployment. They've gotten extensions on their unemployment, and they're desperate. So
now, I want people out there in La La Land to think about this. There may only be high paid part-time employment, and that may be a way for the companies to get around the insurance thing. With a lot of these insurance companies that run through these larger companies and things are just as corrupt as the government in wanting these mandates and then not covering any illness that follows, right? Like, you can't be covered by our company's insurance unless you've had this mandate. And
But then
then,
if you have
and then if
repercussions
you
from
end up
it,
with, right,
it's not covered
I'm
either.
sorry, that's not covered. It was experimental.
Exactly.
So it's a, I see, Marco, you put in there about laziness, and I was just saying, I really don't believe it's laziness. I think it's more, and maybe in some areas it is laziness. I don't know. Okay. But my hypothesis is that it is more about fear of the mandate than it is about an unwillingness to work.
I agree. I've been asked to work for a company to drive for professional sports teams around here, but I'd have to get tested every time I got on board. I'd have to wear a mask, and I'm not
Yeah.
willing to do that. You know.
Yeah. You don't want to let them keep infecting your blood-brain barrier with whatever is on the end of that.
Right?
And
Can
you're
you
right.
imagine?
I wouldn't do it personally.
No. So I have a full-time job right now, and it's
So
good
far,
enough
so
at the
good.
moment. Yeah, so far so good, and they keep asking me to work more and more hours. Like I said, we're up to 7 days a week coming up. When I start Friday, I have no clue when this will end. And the last time this happened, the other guards were telling me that they had worked for 4 months straight without a day off. And I work to live. I don't live to work. So,
Yep. Right.
Right.
I'm completely with you. It's a bane to our society that we've been so programmed to live to work, right? It really is. It's a bane. It is terrible mind programming that they have instituted into people, and a lot of people never break free from that.
Right.
You get a career so you can work your whole life and sacrifice your whole life for some other person's pocket just so you can retire and be okay in your retirement. And then you'll have something to pass on to your children. And that's not the way we were ever intended to live, I don't believe. But that's what we've been programmed to do over the decades, over the generations. At least 3 generations we've been programmed that manner.
Especially in California, it's very hard because the cost of living, everything is sky high there. And my brother, he works for Caltrans, and he doesn't get paid near what he should for his position, but he took it because he said, I get a flu shot, so why not? And I'm like, I can tell you a million reasons why not, but he probably would have been one to lose his job. And he's 2 years from retirement, so I don't know.
And that's the thing, we've been programmed to believe that dollar is the almighty beholder. Yes. Okay? If you think about it, money makes the world go round. You got to have money to make money. What are all the different sayings they use on us about money? And it's insanity. It is complete and total insanity. Yeah, they turned us into their slaves. And I wanted to respond real quick to something Tracy said. I'm really sorry to hear that, and I hope that does not happen for you and yours. I hope that doesn't happen for any more families. I really wish they would just wrap this crap up. I'm not going to ask for an encore, and I'm pretty sure nobody else will either. I think times are going to get tough. I don't think they're going to get as tough as people say they are. I think a lot of it is just fear mongering, because this whole machine feeds off of fear, off of your fear of being in poverty, right? Which, what does that really mean? It means that you have another way to survive without the almighty dollar. What does it really mean? What does poverty really truly mean?
They want you to live off the government under poverty.
Exactly. But this is what I'm saying. They've based this whole thing around money. I guess this is coming up for me a lot because I've been watching that fellow Michael Tellinger, right? And you guys have heard me talk before about that one small town movement, the Ubuntu movement, and it's really a beautifully brilliant idea. Essentially the core of the idea is to use their money system against them, with every small town being so productive just by communal working together, right? That that they become rich enough that you can't knock them down with the almighty dollar, that you can't take it away from them. It's not just about self-sufficiency. It's not just about community, living or anything like that. It's about using their system against them because there's no other way to tear it down.
So you're saying detach from the government and have a community-based income that just stays in the community?
That's kind of what it is. Well, the way I understand it, and I probably don't have a true, clear understanding of the bigger picture, but everything that you need, you'd have your bakery, your farms, your manufacturing, gas station, all that good stuff is all inside your community. And you produce 3 times as much as your community needs. Anybody in the community who's donating their 3 hours of work a week for free gets free stuff in the community because they've all donated to the community in whatever manner. Okay.
Right.
And then the rest of it gets sold outside of the community and brings money into the community. And the people who have donated their 3 hours of work every week get a portion of that money. So essentially you are agreeing to be part of a community that supports itself.
Right.
And to me, it's a beautiful thing. And I would love to see that everywhere, because that means that you couldn't come in and just take them down. You couldn't just come in and roll them over, or steamroll them, or buy them out, or any of that. And the other thing it would do is it would create the competitiveness within the community that is healthy, instead of the stuff that we're taught with these big tech companies or these big manufacturing companies competing for, they say competition leads to lower pricing, right? More availability, but it's a lie. It's a big lie. It always has been. Competitiveness within a community is, hey, at the end of the day, we're working towards the same goal to provide something for the community, right? And whoever gets there first, we shake your hands, we go about our business. It's a healthy competition rather than well, if you win first, we'll pay you lots more money. It's, you know what I mean? So it takes the greed out of the system, basically. Because the only...
To make a better product, in that kind of a competition, rather than competing against each other, to better each individual business. I think that's a healthy goal.
It is.
A village like you're talking about, a small community like you're talking about, would need a cobbler for shoes, would need a seamstress or a tailor for clothing, would need a blacksmith for any metalwork.
Do you see how those kind of communities could work together, though? Do you see how rich and beautiful that type of community, being concerned with each other's welfare and the whole of the community, the health of the community, could be an amazing, just uplifting experience for all of humanity? I would love to see this all over the world. And that's actually what this guy is aiming for. He's aiming for this not just where he's at in South Africa, but the model that he has come up with over the past 16 years can apply to any small town in any country. And that is the beauty of it.
The states that have started.
I know there are several places here in the United States that are ready to get going with it.
Not here. Our community, we would have to, it would take people like us in these groups to build those kind of communities, because here they would fight it tooth and nail. Like I said, now we've got the Tesla charging stations. So what's that saying? They're pushing that.
We have one more.
Bonnie, we came across something today, and I will send it to you later. And it, you know how I've been looking at the old photographic evidence about the mud floods and Tartaria and all that niceness about our hidden history, and it was a postcard from the 1800s in France. And guess what it was? It was 2 trams plugged into electric charging stations on a sidewalk. I am not kidding you. 1800s.
They look like trains.
Wow.
It was 2 trolley cars plugged in to charging stations.
We are a ranching community, 1,500 population in the city limits. It's useless. And I put it on my Facebook, and everybody is arguing about this stuff. And I understand Elon is conservative. I get that. He doesn't want to bring California to Texas, but he moved to Austin to open the Tesla.
More taxes.
Right.
I think Mr. Musk is someone to watch out for, and I mean with caution.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
I don't see anything nice there. I don't see anything nice there. When we all of a sudden have a chip malfunction, but yet you look and Jeff Riddle shows us like at least once a week about them still mass manufacturing these vehicles that they can't get chips for. And now all of a sudden, guess who has the answer?
Yes.
And the fact that he moved to Texas of all states.
Yes. That's what I keep saying. They're trying to destroy us.
Well, if you think about it,
we got the border down here. We got the
babe, you found my dragonflies.
Weather manipulation going on here. They're slamming us. And it's because Texas is fighting back against the government.
Texas has always been
Oh, that's pretty.
the last bastion. My husband bought this for me for our first anniversary. And it's opal and I don't know, but I love this necklace.
Texas can secede. And maybe that's the threat.
Yeah, well, Texas has always been almost a standalone country.
Yes.
Throughout our history, throughout the troubled history, and even the hidden history, Texas has been an almost standalone.
What's the first thing they did? Cut down our pipeline.
If you look at Texas historically, and if you look at the saying, remember the Alamo, they've turned that saying into something else. But originally, remember the Alamo meant remember what we're fighting for.
Yes.
Right? Remember what we're willing to sacrifice to keep sovereignty.
Yes. I had a family member in there. That's what I said. The fight is in us.
Yeah. Yes, it is. You know what? Here's the thing. It's actually literally, I believe, in all of us, all across the world.
Yes.
People are waking up to finally figuring out that we take our power back. And that is the only way that we move forward as a civilization. I think it's so much deeper than all this surface stuff. The surface stuff is the tip of the iceberg. But if you get people to crack off the tip of the iceberg, most of them aren't going to sit around and drink their iced tea. They're going to go, wait a minute, there's something else right there. There's more. There's more. There's so much more.
Yeah.
We underestimate these things. When we talk about like tip of the iceberg, how many people today, when they hear that saying, know that most of an iceberg is underwater, right?
Yeah.
It's hidden.
Well, I don't know that it's going to be done politically. I mean, everybody's got their hopes in these elections, but I'm just not real sure about
Not
that.
everybody.
I think there was some of it done
Not
by
everybody.
force by people. By
Yeah.
the people.
I believe it's going to come to a head where I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're at that head yet. I know a lot of people feel like we are because of the 1 year anniversary and this and that and the other. I really don't feel like we are.
I've seen that where people are saying we're at the tip of the
tipping
iceberg.
point, or we've just crossed the tipping point. We haven't crossed anything yet, you guys. The world's not topsy-turvy yet.
No.
Not yet. And I don't think it's going to get that bad, but I think it's going to come to like a point where we see that, and a lot of people are seeing it, that the corruption is the entire system. It's not about the individual people being corrupt. It is about the entire system being corrupted.
Yes.
All the way down to your local school board, right?
Oh, yep.
So once
Judicial, everything.
Go ahead, K9.
No, I'm just thinking here. You're right, and I think your idea of the bottom up economy, working at a local level, and being a nurturing part, one way or the other, is where this is taking us. We know the system, the complete system is corrupt. We know that, and we know what's happening. And you talk about Elon Musk being very cautious about what he's doing. He's completely into transhumanism. He's completely into putting it to individuals, which he probably already has, right? And
Mister, I'm scared of AI, so I'm going to develop it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And there's another perspective there too. But yeah, I think people are beginning to realize. I wish at this point I'm not able to move out of California at this moment, but if I were able to, I would definitely leave Southern California, because Los Angeles is just it's too big, and
Yes. And it's being overcome. I feel for you.
We've got our mayor at the climate summit overseas right now, and what's he doing there? Well, the downtown Los Angeles has been bought up by the CCP, and you can, I mean, it's completely ruined as far as I'm concerned. It's too bad. LA is so beautiful.
Yeah.
When I'm up on the hill, when I'm up where I'm working, and I can see all the jewels of the Los Angeles, all of LA County from up there, it's beautiful from that distance. But once you get into town, it's a mess.
Yes.
And
so
more.
So you can look. Wait, you're in California. You're able to like look out over the city and see the entire city grid. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Does it look kind of like a circuit board? I'm curious.
Sure, it looks like a circuit board, but I with all the different colored lights down there, it looks to me more like like jewels. I tend to look at Los Angeles as a city of jewels with all the lights, the shimmering of the stoplights. You know, when they turn from red to amber to green, and the cars driving by, and freeways that are reminiscent of a vascular system, where cars going one way are white, cars going the other way are red, and it looks like like a body in circulation. So I kind of look at it that way to make it better.
Very, yeah.
You know?
Well, in my research, and I'm finding more and more that the more I find historically, the more answers I have for the future. I think the key to us as a civilization, and the entire human species all over the world, we were once way more advanced. And Conquer Your Future, it just said that we're not evolving, we're devolving. But I think that we are evolving again. I don't think that we are still devolving. I think we have devolved to the point that we are refusing to do it anymore. I think there has been a movement of spiritual, not religious, spiritual growth among the human species that we are going to come to a point with that where I think historically, once we reach a certain point with technology, if we haven't reached the spiritual growth as well, we pretty much have an extinction level event. And I think it's like this repeating lesson because we've had multiple resets. And they're still uncovering, like, we used to have free electricity, free energy, healing waters, and they were all over the world. Every city was laid out almost like a circuit board. There was waterways through all these things, and there's still plenty of evidence that all this stuff existed. And we got to a point technologically as a civilization with the star forts and the electricity and all these other things but we hadn't reached our spiritual pinnacle with that. And so instead of carrying on, we wiped ourselves out.
Right. I think you're right about our spiritual evolution, and it's accelerating at the moment. And all the technology, all the beneficial technology of, let's just take an example of Tesla, Nikola Tesla, that would have given us free energy and did give us free energy back in the day. I mean, Tesla lit up the Paris World's Fair back in the 1890s, I believe. From New York.
There's a whole bunch of stuff behind those world fairs.
Oh God, yeah, and when they stifled, when they put a lid on our beneficial technology, I think the time is ripe right now for us to blow that lid off in a very nurturing way.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where we're going, and there are so many avenues that we can pursue spiritually with beneficial technology. I think. I think it's happening. I think this is part of the uncomfortability that we're feeling right now, that we're going through right now. Is we still have people, the minority, that are trying to stop our spiritual development,
And they're not going to be able to.
They're not going to.
I can feel. You can feel it. You can feel it in the air, and it's like we are all waking up. Our spiritual sides are all waking up from a very long, very deep slumber. Similar to the fairy tale we heard as a child of Sleeping Beauty, right? A tale as old as time. And what wakens a sleeping princess, right? Love.
Exactly.
And the spiritual side of how our entire species is growing right now is that the key is that we are looking at each other more through eyes of love and recognition. Like Pappy says, that I see you, right? That's important. And I think that we are really coming to a head on that uh, more than we are on all this little surface stuff. I think it's been quietly tucked behind so that it could not be stopped.
Right. For me, I used to work at Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and I worked on the Viking and Voyager project back in the 70s, early 80s. And there were scientists there that had written a book. The book is called Colonies in Space. Now, what they wanted to do back then, they already had ideas of having bases on the moon and also bases on Mars, colonies. But what these scientists, these scientific philosophers, were attempting to propose to NASA was to have space stations on the way to Mars to give the astronauts a respite, a truck stop per se, before they got to Mars. It's a 6-month trip, and you know, we have that's to me that's the difference between Stephen Hawking and Bill Gates. Okay, Bill Gates is a depopulation guy, and Stephen Hawking was saying, well, we have a lot of people here. Let's move them out and start to colonize other places. Um, I think it's more realistic to have a Stanford Taurus out in out space where you have literally 100,000 people that are living and working and developing medical technology, low gravity environments, or having on their taking a semester and going into a space station to learn hydroponics or to do scientific or even spiritual development. I think that's where things should be. And it's been like 50 years now that we haven't even considered the governments, the bureaucracy will not even consider doing that when we can actually begin. I don't think we're overpopulated at all, personally. And
No,
we're just concentrated in certain areas on the East Coast and the West Coast, and
we're just too big to control all at once.
Pardon me?
We're just too big to be controlled all at once.
Right, and to have these to know that these technologies of living in space have been around for a long time and they're easily done, and they won't do it. They just won't do it because they want people concentrated and controlled.
That's exactly. I believe that is absolutely true. We have what did it say? We have more than we know.
Right.
We certainly do. And I'm gonna make a point to that, K9, because I find that the way they have stolen our history, and you guys, I don't mean any offense whatsoever. They have used religion, all sorts of religion, not just one or the other, all types of religion, to either glorify or demonize our history. I want you to think about that. Because if you look at our ancient past and the technology that we had that provided free electricity to the world, that charged the water with healing properties, all the living waters that you hear about them in the Bible, you hear about them in all kinds of old ancient texts. People would travel for the living waters, for the healing waters, for this fountain or that river, right? That had magical properties or had healing properties, all that kind of thing. Those existed. They really did. We had the knowledge to do those things. So everybody talks about these obelisks, right? And
Mhm.
what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of an obelisk?
A what?
An
An obelisk, like Washington Monument, an obelisk.
phallic
What's the
symbol.
first thing that comes to mind to you?
Well, it's symbolic of a phallic symbol, I think.
Exactly, because that's the religious connotation that they have put to it.
Right.
Might I propose that we start looking at it instead as possibly a grounding rod, an ancient grounding rod?
All right.
Does that make sense to anybody that knows anything about electricity? If you think about the domed buildings that are, and you look at any obelisk anywhere in the world, and you find old pictures of it and the buildings that surrounded these obelisks, and you will inevitably find domed buildings with rotundras that had uh, um, exact replica things. So it would be like the rotating of the energy around in the rotundra.
Right.
It would drive down through, right? And then there's an obelisk near every one of these buildings. And every one of these buildings that have domes have turrets with antennas on top. And then if you look within a block or two of those domed buildings and those obelisks, there's also a red brick building with an underground cistern. I'm not kidding you. I've looked at these in Russia, in California, in the 1800s and before, um, in New York. Ask yourself, why do we have cities built on top of cities in New York and California? And question the narrative that they've given you. Question, where did Grand Central Station come from, really? Was it built in the amount of time they said it was built in, or was it found? Was it already there?
Wow.
What was its real purpose? What about the chapels? What about all the ancient churches? These beautiful historical buildings. I want you to think about how the insides of those are made. And I want you to look over in India. Completely different religion, same type of building.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's very interesting when you look at a bigger picture and you remove some of the color that they've put over it, right? They've colored all these things through different manners and with religion as part of it, because that is part of their control mechanism. Because not all religious people have any semblance of spirituality whatsoever. A lot of religious people do have a very deep, profound spirituality. So please don't think I'm knocking religion as a vehicle to get, to your spiritual growth. But what I'm saying is that they have used it as a control mechanism and as a way to color things differently so that you don't see the truth behind it.
Right. The religion and dogma, I think, go together. The dogma is not necessarily a spiritual idea. Religion, the word religion means being bound into something, being bound into philosophy, being bound into, and you can talk about a lot of things being a religion. Um, People who just buy one brand of car, people who are who like to drink and only like to drink a certain beer, well, they're bound into that, and that's their religion, being bound
Right.
into. So once you release yourself, Christ never considered himself a Christian, you know, and
Exactly. He led by
the
example.
dogma, exactly. Greater things you can do than I if you are that pure, if you're that spiritual. And yeah, so religion, each religion has their own dogma, and you look at Buddhism, for instance, and people think, well, Buddhism is all about peace and love and understanding and all, but there are militant Buddhists in Tibet, in militant Buddhists in Thailand, and in Asia that would go to war with other Buddhist traditions or other religions, because the Buddhists thought that they were the end all be all of spirituality, and people don't realize that. So there's what I'm saying is, I think what I'm saying is the same thing you're saying, is that there's good in every culture and every spiritual philosophy, but there's also that other side.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
exactly. And if the further back you look, the more you find. Like the crescent moon of the Muslims and the cross of the Christians used to be one symbol together. I want y'all to think about that. If you look at very, very old illustrations of wars, you will see Muslims and Christians fighting side by side in those wars, not against each other, not as enemies like we are told. We are seeing them try to rewrite our history right in front of our eyes. So if that doesn't wake you up to the fact that they have probably done that before, or they wouldn't have thought to just do it just now.
right.
Ask questions, look deeper, go further. If you feel like you have all the answers, you better come up with some more questions or get a new set of eyes on it. Because really, honestly, if they're doing it now, chances are it's already been done and they're regurgitating the idea. I think Nikola Tesla, brilliant as he seems to be to us, I believe that he had knowledge of the civilization that they hid from us. And he was trying to find another way to give us the same technology back to be able to grow as a civilization. That's my thoughts. That's my personal opinion. I never knew the man. I haven't talked to him. Don't know him. I've read over his works. I've read over all the FBI vault documents that they have on him. I know a lot of the history of it. But what I'm saying is, I don't accept their answers because I don't believe that they're going to be absolute truth tellers. I don't know who the author of that story is, right? I wasn't there. So none of us will ever know the absolute truth because we weren't there. We didn't experience it firsthand. We don't have a personal knowledge of it. All we can do is investigate, but we really can't stop investigating. I think the key to our future is discovering our past, because once people realize what they have hidden from us, I think there's going to be an outrage. And I kind of hope that that's the veil that they uncover. That's the Band-Aid that they rip off and show everyone. That's the one I'm hoping for, because for me, that's the crux of our entire civilization, is being able to not be so about technological advancements that get our spiritual growth, because that is the repeating pattern that I see in all the stories, even from Atlantis and Lemuria, which supposedly were just stories from Plato's head. They were not. There is proof. There are actual historical proofs out there that both of these lands existed. And they have done a swell job of lying to us about the entire thing. They've done a really swell job of making it a mythology.
Right.
To cover up other truths. So if they can falsify that, what makes you think they can't have falsified several other things, right? So it's important that we keep asking those questions and keep digging and keep looking.
Exactly.
Because there will always be evidences of things. I mean, in Utah, we've got dinosaur prints right beside the prints of humanoids. Tell me how that happened if we never existed in the same timeline.
Right. Yeah. The Nikola Tesla thought that everything is energy. Everything is energy, and we can work with that and heal from that in a I'm going to say a modern way. But this is what the indigenous people, the Native Americans, were doing. Here, the healers were doing their chants and their dances and and the herbs that they were using were energy. The energy from the herbs were the healing properties of the herbs. The chants that they would perform over somebody who was ill was meant to dispel that illness and bring in healing energy and neutralize the illness. I
But
think
we're
that's what
taught that
Tesla was
chants are
doing as
bad.
well. And
Tesla figured out that frequency and energy are much the same thing. I want to answer Marco's little post here that I got at the bottom of the screen real quick, Canine. I'm sorry to interrupt you, honey. But
go ahead.
Whoever sacrifices to any god other than the Lord alone shall be devoted to destruction. I want to ask, why would you sacrifice any living creature to a loving God? That's all I want to know.
Right.
I think it's sacrifice.
Well, it's the difference between the Old and New Testament.
Go ahead, Bonnie.
Literal
and it might have been.
I think it's the sacrificing of yourself. When you give yourself to God, that is a sacrifice. You lose friends, you lose a lot of people around you that do not believe the same as you. And also,
that's all I was asking, to see somebody else's eyes on that. I wanted to know how you perceived it. That's all I was asking.
Well, that's how
I wasn't trying to put anything down or anything. I just wanted to know the perception of it.
Right. I have never seen any kind of a animal or human sacrifice in any way. I hope to never witness anything like that. But to me, it's the sacrificing of yourself. You're supposed to, it's like a cleansing, maybe, of yourself.
Okay. Marco, I'm not attacking. I was asking so that we could have a clearer picture of the perception of it. That's all I was doing, bud. Because when I see things like that, it makes me question that, right? Because I'm not reading it in context. I'm reading it how you are posting it. And so I think that's a legitimate question.
And can I say something to Marco also?
Sure.
Sometimes people can feel that scripture is being used as kind of like a weapon towards them, and I am all for the scriptures. I read them daily, and just don't make it like it's condemning someone where they are going to feel condemned by it. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes.
I see your point. I've actually had scripture used against me in my past, so I do know what that feels like. I've had scripture used to control me and keep me in line. Yes. And I'm saying that with a very terrible smirk on my face, but that's why I have my camera off, because I have a very hard time hiding my emotions on my face. You guys know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Bonnie. But I was just asking the question. I wasn't like inferring anything. I just was asking the question. So I'm sorry. I'm not trying to cause offense. I'm trying to have an understanding. Is
And I
all.
understand that. And that's it has taken me a long time too because of teachings in the church. Um, the pastor was totally wanting control over us. He would come to our houses to make sure that we were being good little Christians. Well, to me, that's overstepping your bounds. That is
Yes.
not, if I go to the pastor and say, okay, one of my children are unruly and I don't know what to do, and
Then I've invited you into the problem.
exactly, but don't single me out just because I'm single with kids or whatever and think that that makes me a bad person and you need to keep an eye on me.
And I mean,
That sounds like
every time I ask a question about the scriptures, it seems like a lot of people get offended that I'm asking a question about the scriptures. I'm simply trying to see where you're coming from. I'm simply trying to get an understanding of your perception, because I am not picking up a Bible to read the entire chapter to find out the context of said scripture, right this minute. So I'm only asking
right.
because the more knowledge you can share, the better it is. And if you're going to take offense because I'm asking questions about the scripture, then that's not helpful. And Marco, brother, I know you're trying to help. So all I'm asking is for that, simply. Anyway, let's get back. K9, I'm sorry I interrupted
Bonnie,
you.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
you didn't. No, no, no. This is a completely open conversation. Bonnie, when you were saying your pastor would come over and see what you were doing in your home, that's complete misuse of ego on the pastor's part,
Yes.
and it's definitely selfish, and definitely, what's the word I want to use? Well, I guess narcissistic and
Egoic.
pardon me.
I said egoic. It's
Yeah,
egoic. It's that
you know
human being letting their ego get in the way of what they're supposed to be
exactly.
doing, or what they are wanting people to
Yeah,
think they are doing.
You're not
and I think
teaching.
that's what all spiritual. Well, I think that's what all spiritual philosophies are about, is to put ego in its place rather than in charge of everything. Ego is more of a maybe a manager between the physical and the spiritual, rather than a leader of the entire process. And
Right.
God, however you perceive God, is the actual God's in charge, and the ego is supposed to be more of a, like I said, a manager of rather than a what's the word I want to use,
A
rather than a
ruler.
controller.
Yes.
So
Controller,
yeah,
ruler, same thing.
there you go. Yeah, right, right. So,
Yeah. And I think that that's what turns a lot of people away from uh, religion for sure, but some
right.
Christianity. And because I know I'm having a really hard time getting my children back into uh, living with God. And all I can do is be an example to them. Just
Right.
the seed's been
You're
planted.
an example to them just as much as your right, just as much as your pastor is or was an example to them as well. And they're going, "Gosh, I don't want that. I don't
Right.
want to be. I don't want to be looked down upon by somebody who thinks they're better than me." You
Yeah.
know.
And that's what I said on here one day. What really opened the channel for me was there was a challenge put out. First 20 minutes of every day, scripture, prayer. You're totally with God, nothing else. You don't, nothing else around you, no phone, no nothing. And that communication opened that channel where he was speaking to me back. There was no doubt in my mind about that. And so, um, honestly, I've gotten more out of the being out of the church than I did while I was in it. And it's sad because
Right.
that fellowship is a big part of it. And but lo and behold, here we all are on the internet, and that's exactly what we're doing. This is a fellowship. We are all coming together
Right.
and feeling like have a family here. And most that I have seen are Christian, if you want to label it that. We believe in the Creator. And so um, we can't divide over these things. We can't let the little things get in the way of our full goal.
Right.
Well, that's the thing is we
I
have
think
to
it's
be able to look past these labels. It is vitally important in this time of our spiritual growth that we look past these labels and love one another regardless, right? I love you, you're a Christian, I'm not, and that's okay, but I still love you and you still love me because we both
Yes.
see that our path
Find
still
the
leads
creator.
to our creator. And
And
I
even,
know a lot of people are more comfortable with being part of a certain um, label system because that's what they're comfortable with. It's all they've ever known. And I get that. And I don't have any problem with that. If that's what is right for you, then that's fine. But, you know, for me, I don't like that.
right. And it's, but even me saying I'm a Christian, I am so interested in the Native American ways that Robert and Pappy talk about. And I love learning that because to me, that is the spiritual beginning of
right.
my
When
ancestry.
Marco, I believe we are all children of God. I believe every human being on this planet is a child of the Creator. I believe that. That I believe. That's what I believe. I'm sorry, but I keep seeing these, and I don't know if you're picking at me or what. Just because I refuse to use the same language that everybody else does. If you're uncomfortable with the language I use, you don't have to be here. I love you. It's an open door though, and it swings both ways. So if any of you are uncomfortable with the way I talk,
right.
um, I love you. I will send love to you, and I will pray for you. But I will not change the way I feel because it offends someone else. This is the part we have to get over if we are to move forward as a civilization. I'm sorry, I am
Right.
100% convinced that this is the part that we can't love one another if we're going to throw people away because they refuse to think the way that we do or speak the way that we do. We can't keep doing that. That is not what our Creator wants for us. And most people, I think, know that, right? I mean, am I alone in this?
No. You know,
No.
Christ said, "Look for me in the world, and you'll find me there." I don't think he said, "Look for me in the world and change people's ideas to you know to think about me." But look for me in the world, and you'll find me there. You'll find it in other cultures. You'll find it in other quote unquote religions. and you allow those people to be who they are rather than trying to change them. Um,
Yes.
I think it's the same thing that happened to the Native Americans here when let's say for instance Junipero Serra, when he started when he started going up the coast of California, he said, look at these beautiful people living such a wonderful harmonious life, and isn't it sad that they don't have Christ in their heart, which they probably already had, but did have. And gosh, it's up to me to change their minds and put them into Indian schools and cut their hair and beat them until they believe the way I believe. But there were
And then
other
years
priests.
later,
There were
finally,
other
Thanks, Rock.
well, there were other right. Yeah, there were other priests that were saying, Junipero Serra, stop this. You're hurting these people. Do you think Christ would actually enslave these people just
Yeah.
because you think they ought to be believing the same way you do?
Right.
It was a there were people. What I'm trying to say is there were people there that were attempting to change Junipero Serra's mind and tell him to stop indoctrinating these people in our philosophy and view it and look and see what they're doing here. Look how beautiful they're living.
Mhm.
And it seemed like the violent ego took over and literally decimated the Native American population here.
and that's exactly it. The destruction. It
Conform or
is,
die.
yes,
Conform your thinking to think like us or die. And is that not the way that we
Right.
see the sad state of this world today?
that is
And
exactly the way it is. Christians are being
it's the same
persecuted.
people. Well, everybody
Everyone,
is.
everyone is
Everyone.
being, yes,
If you don't belong to a certain tribe or you don't think exactly like everybody else, thank you, Nathan. If you don't think like everybody else, you don't belong there. But yet, the same people who are blocking out other folks that think differently are the same people talking about we need to unite. And I'm sorry, but it does. It gets right under my skin. It gets right under my skin because it's hypocritical, and the people that say it and do it aren't even realizing that they're being that way. And it really breaks my heart. Quite frankly, it breaks my heart.
because it's causing a division. And
It's furthering the division.
we can't be divided
Yeah.
among us.
We
Every day
have
I
to,
say it. United
we
we stand, divided we fall. And
Right.
it doesn't matter what subject, what anything. And I do want to address something. We don't talk about other channels or anything that goes on there. That's between you
not.
and the channel, not us.
Yeah.
We are known by our works, by our deeds, and I can't imagine. I'm sure it was working both ways. I'm sure there were indigenous people that were just as dogmatic as some Christians were back then. But we are known by our works, and we lead by example. And if we're judging somebody because they're not thinking or believing the way we believe, well, I mean, I go back to the Bible where it says, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." So for me,
Tenfold.
it's looking for that element of Christ within a completely different philosophy and allowing that philosophy to thrive as I would want my philosophy to thrive.
Yes. And
So
yes, Marco, we have to have faith.
that's it. That's a big part of it.
Char, actually, you have a very good point. We are in a time where, yeah, modern day witch burners, because they will persecute anyone who does not believe as they do. And, that's the bit that we all really do need to overcome. If you want to see Christ in other people, then you first have to see that love within yourself, that unconditional love within yourself, in order
That's
to be able
all.
to see it from others.
I'm always telling my kids, check yourself.
Right.
And
It's
that's
true.
true. You
It
have
is true.
to.
And we are human beings. We will all have bad days. We will all have off days. We will all fail at things. And that is okay. So long as we get back up and we keep trying our best and doing our best and live from that center. If we can try to live from that center, then each mistake will be less, each fall will be less painful, and each getting back up will be faster than the time before. But we have to keep doing it. We have to.
Right.
Yep.
It seems to me that every spiritual philosophy on the planet has the same basic idea of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Every single culture, everybody has that same. It might be worded differently, but
yeah,
do unto
it's
others.
in every
do unto
culture.
others
It's
as you
in
would have
every
them do.
religion. Yep. It's a basic tenet
Right.
of every religion. It is a
And
basic tenet of almost every culture. Almost, because there are a few that are not based on those principles. But
right, but
darn near all of them are.
Right.
Love thy
In
neighbor.
my humble opinion, I feel that everybody does that 24/7. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But we are doing it 24/7. We are doing it all the time. And this is where we have to check ourselves, like you were saying. This is where we have to check ourselves and back off on our pushing or on our forcing philosophy on someone else. When I realize that I am, whether I'm angry at somebody, whether I'm happy with somebody, I'm doing unto others as I would have them do unto me. And
Yes.
I'm doing it all the time. When I'm aware of it, then of course I'm not perfect. Gosh, I mean, and of course
We're human.
I have my
We are
moments.
human.
Yeah. Right.
Listen, if you've been ingrained to think a certain way or act a certain way, yeah, but that's been ingrained into your person, and so it is a constant battle for us as adults to overcome what was taught to us or ingrained into us as children to get to a deeper truth. And
Right.
we all do it. We all battle those things. Go ahead.
Right. I think we do it all the time. And the more we're aware of ourselves, I remember, saying to you before on here that, the God in me sees the God in you. The spirit in me sees the
Om
spirit
Namah
in you.
Shivaya. That's right.
I don't do that all the time. I don't, I mean, I'm not perfect, but when I realize that, I'm back to my center again. So,
Yes.
And that's beautiful. And that's what we should be doing. Namaste. Om Namah Shivaya. It means the same thing. The God in me sees the God in you. That part of creator that each one of us holds, that piece of creator that each one of us is a vessel for. That's the part we should be looking at. That's the thing that we should see. That is true unity, right? That's going beyond the labels, beyond the belief systems, beyond all of it. I see you. I love you, right?
Right.
So I haven't said this yet today. Yeah, as you are. I'm going to say this because I haven't said it yet today. I thank the divine creator for each and every one of you. And I love and appreciate each and every one of you for the role that you play, not only in my life, but in the world we live in today.
Love you too.
Yep. Love you. Yes,
What
ma'am.
the world needs now is love, sweet
Love,
love.
sweet love. I know that song keeps popping into my head too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it does need. And you know what? I'm going to apologize. I will apologize for letting myself perhaps
triggered.
misinterpret things. Okay, maybe that's what I did. Maybe I misinterpreted. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But what I will say is that if I did, I sincerely and truly apologize from the bottom of my heart, and I will try to look through the eyes of love. Because I'm human. I'm just, we are all human.
And
I
you
can't
do.
hold somebody else to the higher standard than I hold myself to, right? I can't do that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. We do all have the right to express ourselves, but let's be respectful of each other. Let's not try to conform others to our way of thinking. Let us instead see with that pure heart of love that we were gifted with.
Yep.
Amen.
I was like, oh, what did I
When
say?
No. It's great. That's great. When we realize that we're not going to quote unquote agree with everybody, that we can say, okay, you disagree with me. And what does that mean? That means that you disagree with me. That's all it means.
That's it. Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm going to change your mind or are you going to change my mind. It just means we disagree. And there are, we agree on a lot of things and gosh, I mean, you got to keep it simple, Okay,
Yeah.
you disagree with me. Wonderful.
That's great. I'll say the sky is blue, and you can say it's ultramarine, and Bonnie can say it's cobalt. None of us are wrong, right?
Yep. We had that argument one night
Exactly.
about the ball. What color is the ball? Well, Shane saw blue and everybody else saw green, or I don't know.
But see,
And what difference did it make? None.
but here's the thing. It did prove a valuable point, is that your truth might be different than my truth, but it is still our truth, right?
Right.
And I want you to think about that, you guys out there in chat world. I really want you to think about that. Truth is not fact. And we cannot continue to confuse the two things, because truth is perceptual. It doesn't make my truth any better or worse than yours. It just makes it mine. That's all it does, because my truth is always through my perception, through my life experiences, and your truth will be through your perceptions and your life experiences. So truth is not fact, but it doesn't make it any less true. And we really should think about that, because a lot of times we confuse truth with fact. We condemn these people that put out information that they believe is true. That's their truth. And just because you're willing to accept the truth of another and you get disheartened when you don't get the results that you expect to see, doesn't make it any less of that person's truth. It makes it that it was your choice to follow that person's truth.
To be
Do you see
there.
what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So we have to also take responsibility for our own decisions. If you choose to follow other people and believe what other people believe, then you have to accept responsibility if things do not turn out the way you want them to. It doesn't make it any less that one person's truth, but it doesn't make it a fact either. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
So
Very good. That was well said.
it's they have convoluted our language so much that there are many confusions on these kinds of things. When we talk about stuff like that, like truth, Marco just said, truth is truth, lie is lie. Kind of telling the truth is a lie. It's still a lie. Marco, you're missing the point. Truth is perceptual. Char says, the truth will divide like a sword. Yes, ma'am, I believe that, because it is perceptual. My perception of the truth is not the same as your perception of the truth. But that if there is a fact in there, the fact will not be changed. The truth is perceptual, though. And I believe that.
Shipwreck, I hope you look at the video I mentioned you in. Because he did one in Tennessee.
Spot.
And yes, it was exact. And that's when he posted it. I was like, I would swear you are right down the road from me. And that's why I took that picture, because it's identical. And Robert is so right. And we've said that before on here. Each of us are on our own journey. And some of us are further back on that path. Some of us are further ahead. But it's your own personal journey.
This is true. I missed something, Marco. I missed something. Or did you, Heather? I'm not sure what you're asking.
I don't know either.
But I mean, and maybe you guys see it differently, and that's fine too. That's just the way I see it. So all I can do is share how I see it, right? This is one person's opinion. I'm just one person, and I am a person, a human being with faults and frailties and all the other good stuff that comes with being in a human body.
And that's why we come up here and have these discussions. We're not all going to say the exact same thing. How boring would that be? I'm a robot.
God,
let me let me speak this, and then you say the same exact thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I need to.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to take that. That would drive me bonkers. We're all part of the same spark of life, right? We all have that same spark of life within us from the Creator, but we are all individual, not to make us different, but to make us interesting, right? So if we can start by seeing that God spark within each person, then all the rest of it should be more about the interesting differences rather than but you have to see it from a place of similarity, like what we have in common first, before you can truly appreciate another's differences.
Well,
Everything that makes each of us individual is important and valuable. But it also means that, we have to see that the spark within us, to see that commonality, so that we are able to appreciate those differences rather than wanting to change them.
It's just like we were talking about building a community. Okay, if we were to start building a community, you were saying the shoemaker and the blacksmith, and so each person would have their specialty or their talent that they would use in that community, and that's what combines that community together and makes it work. So each individual different person, no matter how they're different, whether it's by religion, color, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's the community. And each person has their place in it, doing something, whether it's just reading to the children, it's doing something to build that community to a better place.
Right.
That should be all of our goals.
Exactly. Uplifting each other should be all of our goals. Really, it should. We should not at any point want to tear each other down. And I've been guilty of that a lot in my past, tearing people down because it made my ego feel better. I've learned a lot since those days, and I try not to do that anymore. But I'm still not scared to ask questions,
Right.
even though I know that a lot of people do get offended by my questions. That's okay. You don't know answers until you ask questions. You'll never get the answer if you're afraid to ask the question because you're concerned about how somebody will take it. And I believe that.
Heather, I think there's a couple of things. I need to get going here, but there's a couple of things that you reminded me of. And you're talking about learning. You're talking about transforming behavior. And behaving is what you do, and you do what you learn. So if you're going to transform your behavior, you've got to be in a place of continuous learning
Growth,
and
yes.
right and growth. And ultimately, you have experiences in your life that create your behavior, and and those experiences are all that you have. So when you're talking to somebody, when we're here on this channel, we're learning the behaviors and the experiences of other people, and if we can just be there with them and allow all of us, which you do, you allow all of us to express our opinions, express our philosophies, because that comes from our experience. That's all each one of us have, and I think I'm blessed to be here. I'm very grateful to you to have this channel, and because it allows all these different philosophies and these different ways of being to present themselves here. And
Yeah.
even though we're a small group, it's a very powerful group, and I'm really grateful for that. So
And we're grateful for you as well, and for all of you, because that's all this was ever. This was intended to spread love and happiness, but also to bring a deeper connection. To try to offer a place where multiple thoughts could come together in a cohesive manner. Where we
right,
if we tell our stories to each other, we have a better understanding of when you come up here with us, K9, we have a better understanding of your perception, right? When Bonnie comes
right,
up here, we have a better understanding of her perception. And so it really does show how, even though we are all different, we can all still just join together. We can understand each other by sharing these things.
right.
And
Well, Heather, you're not trying to do it. You're actually doing it, and that's the important thing, is that you're actually doing it. And we're going to go through all aspects of our emotions and our behaviors to get to that point, and that's what this is all about. And again, I appreciate it, and I've got to get going, but it's great being here. Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you,
thank you,
Ken.
K9. Thanks for coming up
I'm
with me
glad you
today. I
did.
really appreciate you.
I
Just so you know
appreciate
that.
you too. You,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you. I know it.
You have
Thanks.
a you have
Take
a
care.
great blessed day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Chuck, I love you.
I know, right? I just put in there Badger Brother. You can see Badger on him. As soon as he told that story, it made complete and perfect sense, didn't it?
Yep.
Well, and I think we'll start wrapping this up here too. So, do you have any final thoughts for us, lovely lady? Body of
Just
the golden heart.
um Marco, yes, I did see your Corinthians scripture, and love is the answer. Y'all just hang in there, try to get along, stay away from the negative. If you go somewhere that there's arguing, just back out. That's all you got to do. If you
Yeah,
jump in, you're putting yourself in the position of being argued with, and nobody wants that.
So, Char, I don't know you personally. I've heard other stations probably have had issues or whatever with you. I don't have any issue with you. Again, I don't know you personally, hun. Um, so I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. And I'm not asking anybody to team up with anyone here. That's completely not what we're about. This is
No.
Marco comes back because he knows that even though I don't believe the same way he does, I still have love for him. You do know that, don't you, Marco? I mean, I hope you do. Love is the key. Love is the key. We say that all the time. So,
It's one
um,
thing we can all agree on.
welcome here. We, uh, right. Well, we don't deal with any of that surface crap here at all. That's not even what we're about. So you are welcome. Again, we don't we don't deal with the surface stuff here. That's not what we talk about here. We try to go a little bit deeper. Um, so I love you guys. Um,
Love you too, Heather. And lying, that's a that's a whole nother day, because then you have to think, okay, where's your research to back up that that's a lie? So yeah, we don't do that.
yeah, we don't do any of that here. We try to stay as peaceful as we can. Uh, but we also don't have problems asking each other questions. And that is something I think is missing from a lot of places. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, right, Ship. This is a hate-free zone. We don't do that here. But and Marco knows I will always ask questions. I mean, like every time he's in here, I ask him questions. Do I not? And it's not
Yes.
because I'm never trying to attack anyone. I want to have a better understanding. That is all. So, um, oh, you're good, hun. Right. Well, again, this is a mostly information free zone. Every once in a while, we'll mention something, but this is not ever the topic of our conversations. So,
And
you know,
our information is like Robert said, homesteading, how to survive.
you
It's
want one thing to stock up on baking soda. I swear,
we try
it's
to
good
give
for so
out
many
helpful,
things.
good information.
Yeah. So
And
anyway,
Heather,
we love you guys. We do. Uh, so much love for you all. So we will see you tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and wrap up today. My husband and I are still working on electric and finishing certain areas of the house, and we are desperately trying to get this done before first snow. So um, much love and light, and we will see you all tomorrow or around the channels this evening. So
yeah. Thank
um,
you, Heather. Love you.
yeah, love you too. And somebody out there in La La Land, drop Bonnie's link in there. She is our lovely late night host.
And I think Robert did, but thank you.
All right. Well, we'll see you all later. You have a great day.
You too, hon. Bye bye.
Thank you, Bonnie, for coming up.
Bye, chat. Love y'all.
Thanks, LHS. And